Have you ever woken up feeling like the weight of yesterday is still on your shoulders? Maybe your heart is tired, your mind is overwhelmed, and you're silently asking, God, do you see me? Do you hear me? If that's you, you're not alone. Life can feel like a pit, dark, confusing, and endless. But Psalm 40 reminds us of a deeper truth. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. Today is not just another day. It's a new beginning, a divine moment to rise under God's protection, to walk in His blessing, and to stand on the solid ground of His promises. This morning, let your soul breathe again. Let this powerful prayer guide you back into His arms, where peace replaces pressure and faith conquers fear. There are mornings when life feels heavy, when the heart longs for direction, peace, and assurance that we are not alone. In those moments, a morning prayer becomes more than tradition. It becomes our lifeline. Psalm 40 begins with a declaration that resonates deep within the soul. I waited patiently for the Lord. He turned to me and heard my cry. This is not a passive waiting, but an active, expectant hope that God will respond. When we rise with this mindset, putting God first before we even step out of bed, we begin to see life from a higher perspective. Anxiety begins to melt in the warmth of divine presence. Confusion is replaced with clarity, and fear gives way to faith. This day is not just another day. It's a divine opportunity to reconnect, recalibrate, and realign our spirit with heaven. So as you listen to this devotional, let it not just be words, but a moment of encounter with the one who holds all things in His hands. Beloved, this is your moment to pause, breathe deeply, and declare with boldness, today I begin my day with God. This isn't a simple statement. It's a declaration of war against spiritual apathy and emotional exhaustion. As you prepare your heart, know this. God's presence is already moving around you. He's already speaking, already healing, already making a way. Psalm 40 verse 2 reminds us, He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. That's the God who meets you this morning, not a distant deity, but a personal Savior who rescues, restores, and repositions. The pit may have been deep, but His arm is longer. The night may have been long, but joy is coming in the morning. As we pray together, as we cry out in faith, know that your voice does not go unnoticed in heaven. He hears, He moves, and He responds, not in our time but in His perfect will. You see, waiting on the Lord is not weakness. It is strength in disguise. Psalm 40 verse 1 says, I waited patiently for the Lord, but behind that patience is persistence, trust, and relentless faith. In a world of instant results, the act of waiting becomes a holy resistance. Resistance against panic, pressure, and the need to control everything. And here's the beauty of it. When you wait with faith, God inclines His ear. He listens with intention. He moves with precision. There's blessing in the waiting. There's transformation in the quiet. And there's power in starting your day not with noise but with prayer. Even when your surroundings seem silent, know this. He is never absent. The silence isn't abandonment, it's preparation. He is working, refining, aligning everything for your good. Today begin with trust. Begin with surrender. Begin with the assurance that God is present in every breath and every step. And when God moves, He doesn't just lift us up, He changes everything. Psalm 40 verse 3 declares, He put a new song in my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. That's the shift prayer brings. It replaces complaints with praise, despair with worship, and fear with bold declarations of faith. When we open our hearts in the morning and speak to God with sincerity, something inside begins to shift. The atmosphere changes. Heaven draws near. Even when the battle still rages, we begin to sing. Not because everything is perfect, but because we know who is in control. And people will notice. Psalm 40 verse 3 continues, Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in Him. Your faith is contagious. Your morning devotion doesn't just affect your day, it impacts your family, your co-workers, your children, even strangers. Starting the day with God sets a tone that ripples through everything and everyone you touch. There is no prayer too small to reach the throne of heaven. There is no heart too heavy that God cannot lift. Psalm 40 verse 4 says, Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord. It's a reminder that real happiness, lasting peace, doesn't come from circumstances but from trust. Trust that God is who He says He is. Trust that even in chaos, He's writing a divine story. This is why morning prayer is not optional, it's essential. It's not a ritual, it's a rescue. It's not tradition, it's transformation. When you begin your day with prayer, you don't just invite God into your day, you align your entire life with His will. And that's where true strength lies. It's not about how much you do but how deeply you depend. So today, don't run into the chaos unarmed. Start in His presence. Start on your knees. Start with the one who has already gone before you. In a world where noise dominates every second, this prayer is a gentle yet powerful call to center our hearts on what truly matters. It begins by confronting the chaos of unnecessary arguments and hasty judgments, inviting the listener into a space where humility, love, and reconciliation take priority. This isn't just a devotional, it's a mirror showing us how often pride and emotional haste sabotage our relationships. As these words unfold, we are led not just to pause, but to reflect deeply on the importance of walking as Jesus walked, deliberately, compassionately, and slowly enough to hear what truly needs to be heard. The prayer invites the audience to break the cycle of emotional reactivity, becoming bridges where there were once walls, and messengers of peace where tension once reigned. As the voice moves into the subject of time, it strikes a nerve that so many feel but seldom voice: the desperate desire to be more organized, more present, and more focused. This part of the prayer gently dismantles the illusion of productivity for productivity's sake. It whispers wisdom into the heart, reminding us that putting God first is more than a spiritual phrase. It's an intentional act of consecrating every minute. We're taught to resist the frantic rush and the seductive call of distractions, replacing them with a higher rhythm, one aligned with God's eternal purpose. There's a supernatural shift in tone, almost like a reset button pressed gently on the soul, bringing order where there was disorder and clarity where there was chaos. Then comes the battle of the mind, a daily war waged in silence. This section speaks directly to the overwhelmed, the anxious, and those burdened by the weight of internal noise. With pastoral compassion, it prays for the removal of restlessness and fear, replacing them with a calm only God can offer. The language here is soothing yet potent, carrying with it a plea for divine focus. We're reminded that thoughts are not neutral, they must be guarded, filtered, and aligned with the truth. By asking God to silence voices of doubt and replace them with praise and purpose, this prayer serves as spiritual armor for the mind. It's a wake-up call for anyone who has let fear dictate their mental space. Listening is more than a skill, it's a sacred discipline. As the prayer transitions, it speaks to something profoundly missing in our world: the ability to hear beyond words. We're challenged not only to listen but to listen with empathy, patience, and depth. It uncovers how often we rush to respond, correct, or judge, rather than sit silently with someone else's pain. This portion becomes a training ground in spiritual discernment, showing us that silence can speak volumes and listening can be a divine act. By inviting us to hear what is not said, the hidden grief, the unspoken cry, it gently awakens a deeper spiritual sensitivity. We're not just praying anymore, we're learning to embody compassion. The prayer then turns a corner, addressing decision-making. It strips away the glamour of impulsive action and urges us to seek divine wisdom in every choice, no matter how small. The imagery here is strong: walking by faith, not by sight, seeking counsel rather than charging ahead, letting peace be our internal compass. It doesn't just ask for God's blessing, it demands that we align our will to His. There's a shift from reaction to reflection, from impulse to intention. Every line serves as a quiet rebuke to the chaos we often invite into our lives through hurried decisions. This is where the listener is trained to think eternally, to choose from a place of stillness rather than fear. As we come into the realm of finances, the prayer takes on a tone of stewardship and surrender. It's not about wealth, but about the heart behind every dollar. There is a call to detach from riches while embracing God's provision with trust. Listeners are invited to think of money not as a possession, but as a tool, something to be managed with diligence, given with generosity, and received with gratitude. The narrative reinforces a truth many forget: that financial peace begins in spiritual perspective. When God is the source, anxiety diminishes. By invoking blessings of creativity, open doors, and provision, this segment becomes more than a petition. It becomes a declaration of divine economy over worldly scarcity. Then comes a rebuke that many will feel deeply: the call to escape spiritual distraction. This part is strikingly relevant. It shines a light on how easily we're pulled away from what matters by the trivial pings of social media and the endless scroll of entertainment. The prayer isn't condemning, it's convicting. It reorients the heart toward the eternal, challenging listeners to desire fellowship with God more than fleeting digital gratification. The language here is deliberate, calling for discipline, vigilance, and a return to devotion. It's a charge to protect sacred time, to tune out the noise, and to place God back at the center. For many, this will feel like a mirror, uncomfortable but necessary. In one of the most emotionally resonant moments, the prayer confronts disappointment head-on. It doesn't shy away from loss, frustration, or unmet expectations. Instead, it elevates them into opportunities for growth. The listener is reminded that God's silence is not absence, and that his delays are not denials. This section ministers deeply to the wounded heart, offering spiritual maturity as a balm. It reframes pain as a bridge to deeper understanding, encouraging the listener to lean into the process rather than flee from it. There's healing in these words, a soft invitation to trust in divine timing and a reassurance that even tears can lead to transformation. Gratitude becomes the next weapon in the spiritual arsenal. This part of the prayer teaches that thankfulness isn't circumstantial, it's foundational. The listener is guided to see blessings not just in grand gestures but in quiet mercies, a breath, a meal, a smile. It becomes clear that the truly grateful heart is the one most attuned to divine presence. The language is poetic but grounded, creating a daily rhythm of celebration, even in the ordinary. Gratitude here is not just an attitude, it's an act of spiritual warfare, silencing dissatisfaction and opening the door to joy. This portion turns the mundane into sacred ground, training the eye to see miracles everywhere. Finally, the prayer lands on themes of humility, perseverance, and integrity. These are the invisible muscles of the soul, and the prayer works to strengthen them. Humility is cast not as weakness, but as divine strength, recognizing that all victory stems from grace. Perseverance is reframed as holy resilience, a flame of hope that stays lit even in deserts. And integrity becomes the badge of a life truly aligned with heaven. Listeners are charged to be consistent, honest, and faithful, even when no one is watching. As the prayer concludes, it circles back to purpose, that every step taken, every word spoken, and every place visited might be touched by the peace and presence of God. This isn't just a devotional, it's a guide for living. Well, we're almost at the end, but I noticed that you still haven't left your like. This is very important for YouTube to continue sharing our content with you, so leaving a like is free and will help you. Thank you, and let's get back to the video. In the rush of life, we often forget that every step can carry the fragrance of heaven. But today, may we slow down just enough to remember this. Every responsibility is sacred when God is placed first. Imagine if every assignment became a mission, if every service was an act of worship. That's the invitation of this prayer, a shift in perspective. As we face studies, classes, and deadlines, may students receive wisdom like Daniel, teachers be filled with strength like Moses, and administrators find divine direction like Solomon. Let our schools become more than institutions. They become sanctuaries of growth, safety, and transformation. May education never be just about information, but a path toward divine revelation. May discernment guard knowledge, and may each heart in the classroom understand that heaven celebrates those who seek purpose in the seemingly ordinary. God, let your hand be over every desk, every book, every exam, and may your peace dwell within every hallway. When we step out the door and into the uncertainty of traffic, Lord, calm our anxious hearts. Protect us from distractions that steal focus and accidents that steal peace. Let every driver become an agent of grace on the road. May every honk be met with patience, and every red light become a moment to breathe and remember, the time in your hands is always perfect. Let each journey, whether 5 minutes or 50, be an opportunity to commune with you. May our vehicles echo prayers and praises, not frustration. And let our path be guarded, not just physically but spiritually. Bless the unseen warriors of the morning, the mothers, the fathers, the caregivers, the early risers, those whose reward often comes in silence. May their sacrifices be met with heavenly strength. Lord, renew their bodies and souls. Give them an embrace in every gesture of care, and may they never feel invisible, for you see what man often overlooks. To those going through transitions, Lord, be the constant they cling to. Whether changing cities, careers, or chapters of life, may their steps be anchored in your promises. Let uncertainty be drowned in divine confidence. Where fear tries to take root, let grace rise up stronger. May this be not just a new season, but a spiritual rebirth, one clothed in courage, discernment, and unwavering faith. Remind them of every past deliverance, and may those memories become pillars for the future. And for the surprises that catch us off guard, the changes we didn't see coming, teach us to respond with trust, not panic. Your word says in Romans 8 verse 28 that all things work together for the good of those who love you. So may our hearts remember that even what we can't predict is already held in your sovereign plan. And Lord, for those who feel the sting of loneliness today, wrap them in the comfort of your presence. Let this morning be a gentle reminder that they are not forgotten, not invisible, not abandoned. May we all be alert, to see the silent pain, to offer kindness instead of judgment. Make us living vessels of empathy and mercy. Let our hands carry compassion and our words be healing balm. For those walking the tightrope of discouragement, ignite hope again. Fan the flame of dreams that have grown cold. Remind weary souls that they are closer to breakthrough than they think. Isaiah 40 verse 31 promises, "But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles." May those who've been crawling rise and run again. Lord, even in the tedious things, forms, paperwork, bureaucracy, be our peace and order. May there be no frustration but grace. May we not despise the small steps, for you are a God of order and detail. Let every delay carry a lesson. Let every complication be an opportunity to lean deeper into your guidance. Open doors in offices and hearts, and may divine favor rest upon the necessary connections. And when we're tempted to be impatient, remind us, your timing is flawless, your pathways are always worth waiting for. Let this day bring not just resolution but growth through the process. Teach us, God, to celebrate. May we not overlook the tiny joys you send. A smile, a sunrise, a kind word, a whisper from heaven. Let gratitude become our rhythm. Let joy be our rebellion against darkness. May we find music even in life's grayest moments. Psalm 118 verse 24 declares, "This is the day the Lord has made, we will rejoice and be glad in it." So may praise never leave our lips, even in tears. May laughter echo through our homes not because life is perfect, but because you are faithful. Let our joy be our testimony that you're still working, still near, still good. And at the end of it all, when the day has run its course, may we lay our heads on our pillows with a heart at peace. May our conscience be clear, not because we were perfect but because we walked with you. Let this prayer not end with words but with action. May it be the background music of our decisions, the rhythm of our day. Lord, thank you for never abandoning us, for walking beside us through every victory and valley. Today we choose to begin again. With you. First, always. If this prayer touched your spirit, share it with someone who might need to feel God's presence today. Type your Amen in the comments as a public act of faith, and if you have a prayer request, write it below. We want to pray with you. And don't leave just yet, there's another video waiting to bless your soul even more deeply. Just click the next recommendation on your screen and keep feeding your faith. Thank you for watching this far. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving the next content. Until the next video, and may God bless you.